Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and give an update on the Acryl Observe track. We did one in August, so 2 months later, we'll take a look at what the team has been working on. So before we start, I'll just motivate the problem set that we are working towards. And this was kind of decided based on talking to various customers of Acryl. But what we found is that data users are often the first to encounter data issues. And by data users, I mean people who are looking at dashboards or even end users of a product with data-driven features baked into it. Oftentimes, those users aren't able to actually determine the underlying source of the problem. So if I'm looking at a dashboard and I see that something looks incorrect, but that dashboard is powered by 50 upstream tables, I probably don't know exactly what has gone wrong. Data users also don't usually know how to fix the underlying problem, even if we know where the issue is. And finally, there often isn't a formal process to triage or find ownership and accountability when data issues are detected. So this is the set of problems that the Acryl Observe team is sort of focused on. And our true north principle is really that data consumers shouldn't be the first to encounter data issues. And if they weren't the first to encounter data issues, we could get ahead of a lot of these problems. So with that, I'll just quickly touch on the mission of the team. The mission is to protect data-driven's most important assets by detecting data issues proactively before they make their way downstream, and then driving resolution collaboratively across the various stakeholders in the organization. At a 50,000-foot level, the master plan of attack is first we're focusing on the detection piece, so early detection of data quality issues. And then we're focusing on the resolution piece. So this is helping to drive resolution across an organization once data quality issues have been detected. And a recap on what we're building. I gave an overview of this last time, but I'll go over it again. Data quality assertions managed by DataHub. These are essentially data quality rules or tests that can be defined by users and scheduled to run on a continuous basis with notifications when things go wrong. ML-powered smart assertions. So these are automatically generated data quality rules that are based on looking at trends in your data's history. Real-time health dashboards, which enable the central teams to track data issues in real time and then prioritize efforts towards fixing those with the highest ROI. And finally, incidents and notifications. So moving into the resolution phase, broadcasting the state of an incident to the relevant stakeholders and then working to get that resolved. Last time we took a look at freshness assertions, which allow you to define data quality checks that guarantee that a table is updated in the expected times, and volume assertions, which allow you to define checks against the row count or the size of a table and monitor when things go wrong. We finally covered smart assertions, which are these auto-generated checks based on the history of your data. Here you're seeing a volume smart assertion that is verifying the row count of a table through time. And with that, I'm going to jump into a quick demo of two new types of assertions that we've been working on in the past 2 months that will kind of add to this suite of functionality. So if we go to DataHub, we have this purchase event table on our BigQuery instance. And you can imagine this represents purchases that were made on an e-commerce website. We already have some of the new types of assertions I'm going to talk through, but I'm going to start with actually going through the create assertion flow and showing you what those look like. So we talked through freshness and volume before, and today we're announcing the availability of column and custom SQL assertions. I'm going to start with column assertions, which allow you to define checks against individual columns in this table. There are kind of two types of column assertions that we support. The first is column value assertions, which allow you to verify that every row's value for a particular column matches some criteria. And the second is column metric assertions, which is validating that a metric value aligns with some particular expected value. First, I'll show you the column value assertions. So the first thing we have to do is select a column from the table that we want to assert against. I'm just going to choose the amount column, which is basically the amount of the purchase transaction. And what we can do is basically run a rule against the amount column where we look for values that are violating our rule. So I'm going to say that I want to pass as long as every amount is going to be greater than 0. This means that it was a valid purchase, let's say. Finally, I can determine whether I want to allow nulls or not. If I never expect this column to be null, then I'm going to turn that off. And finally, I can select which rows I want to run this assertion against. We can either run it against all table rows or the rows that have changed. Finally, we can test out this assertion right here in line before we create it. Column metric assertions are very similar, except we are running the assertion against metrics that are obtained by aggregating over the column, like the min, the max, the average, and more. Finally, I'll show you custom SQL assertions, which basically allow you to define any arbitrary SQL against this table, and then compare the result to a predicted expected value. I won't get too far into this because I know we are running short on time. So I'm going to, with that, jump back into my slides. All right. So what we just checked out is the new support for column assertions and custom SQL assertions. We also support finding assets with ongoing issues or failing assertions through our search APIs, as well as through our dataset health dashboard. Finally, I'll just cover the Acryl advantage, why we think Acryl has a unique benefit for observability. The first is that we allow you to define these data quality rules in an effortless manner without writing any code or any YAML files. The second is we serve as a centralized store of trust across both the technical health and the governance or compliance health of an asset. And then finally, we make these rules and data quality universally accessible to everyone inside of your organization, not just the folks that are dealing with the data on a day-to-day basis or the technical folks. In terms of availability, Acryl Observe is in the early preview stage now. If you'd like to try out these features and provide feedback, definitely reach out to our team and we can go ahead and get you set up. All right, finally, coming soon to Acryl Observe, we have smart column assertions, remote execution, so this is running data quality checks in your own environment. Additional data source integrations, currently we support Snowflake, BigQuery, and Redshift, and Databricks is next. And that's pretty much it for me. I'm going to hand it back.